that's fine. Yeah.
All right, you ready to go?
Oh,
Get it all out, wiggles and wiggles.
Yeah. Let's go, brother.
All
Let's
right,
do
all
it.
right. Welcome back to Mortgage Better with Mike.Bott, ringing in the 2023 with Clennon Hughes.
Your favorite, number one, Northern California realtor, here to serve.
Fantastic. And we centralize in Stockton, California, right in the heart of San Joaquin Valley. And what I want to talk to you today about, Clinton, is we've talked about the market as 2022 ended up. And it was one of those markets that, it didn't leave a stain, but it left like a scar after a surgery.
It left a scar. It left a scar or bad taste in your mouth, however you want to look at it. It was not pleasant.
It was not pleasant. I've been in the loan industry for 6 years. However, the way that my branch is set up and who I work under, I have a lot of volume. And, starting in 2016 as the ramp up of the market and then the peak of the market probably in 2021. And to feel that downfall, I mean, it was just like you don't even have a parachute and you're jumping out of that plane.
You just walk right off the cliff.
You just got nothing. So, you're working, busy, and then what am I doing?
Right. Twiddling your thumbs.
And that kind of, everyone's kind of, living off that 2021 money and, feeling really good because they made a lot. And it's like, all right, no worries. I need a rest anyways.
Right.
And now it's a year later.
And everybody's like, oh, my God, now what?
It's still happening. So today's discussion, I wanted to kind of bring that around on, what goals are going to be for yourself, personal, professional.
Okay.
I'll share mine as well. I haven't really nailed them down to a finite number.
Okay.
However, I've got a good general idea. And, the way that I look at goals is have malleable goals that you know what, if it's a target number, make that number attainable.
Right.
Don't make it 1 million home loans a year because I mean, if you can't attain a goal, you can't get that adrenaline rush from it, and it's like you can't celebrate it.
Right.
So I always like to have that type of malleable goal, whereas it's not like it's just a volume or a number that I need to hit, but it's also like how many families I've helped. Right. So I kind of want to discuss that. Do you have any input on, kind of how you determine your goals every year?
So first, for me, I like to take a look at my life year over year, right? So each year is just a brick in the story or a chapter in the story of my life. So I don't, as far as professionally, I do set goals. Personally, I don't really do like New Year resolutions.
Good.
I do life resolutions, right?
Yeah.
Because, everybody, you go to the gym, and right now the gyms are packed because it's the first week of January. Give it a couple of weeks, and everybody's going to be gone, right?
Dude.
So for me, it's just
the New Year resolutionists is what we used to call them.
That's what we call them, right? Absolutely. So
yeah.
I don't really do that. So I set my business goals and my professional goals. Business-wise, actually for life, you're a little younger than me, so you may not remember this, but there was a television show back in the late 80s called Video Soul with Donnie Simpson. And Video Soul, the host, Donnie Simpson, always had this send-off at the end of the show. And he said, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars.
Wow.
So that's the mindset I've always had. So
that's
you
amazing.
Said, well, it matches what you were saying about having malleable goals. Yeah. If for some reason, I run into an obstacle or something, instead of quitting, let me readjust. Mm-hmm. Let me kind of move this around a little bit. Let me kind of use it like Play-Doh and kind of set it to something else.
Exactly.
But you don't quit. So for me, I may shoot for, I want to do this. If I have to readjust, that's fine, but I don't quit. And I stay within a certain range. So let's say I want to do, 20 sales. Mm-hmm. Okay, if that doesn't work, then, I'll readjust to 15. But if if that doesn't work, if I do 12, whatever the case may be, if it's within a certain range, I'm okay, and if I go above, great. If I get close, great. If I'm a little off, you know what? Great, because I did what I could, and I control what I could control, and whatever I couldn't control, I let it be.
That's the thing. And before we got on today, you were actually talking about a couple of different strategies, and then like we've always mentioned in the past, as we're closing out 22, just going back to the basics and making sure that those basics work for you. You're talking about picking up that phone and calling people.
Dialing for dollars.
How many people actually pick up a phone and dial it. I mean, yeah, you're going to be leaving a lot of voicemails because people see numbers and it's like, I'm not answering this.
Right.
But you're at least getting to them. You're getting to their voicemail. If they see that voicemail pop up and it's like, oh, okay, let's make sure this isn't spam, kind of thing. And if it's important, I'll call them back.
Right.
But they're still listening to your voicemail.
Right.
And you kind of know that too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go over my goals quickly, and then we can go over yours.
Okay.
On a personal level, man, to be honest with you, I just need to focus on myself.
Right.
And it's kind of hard to make a goal of being better to yourself.
Right.
So I don't even know. Like, I mean, is it going to like a spa and, treating myself because I don't like people touching me, or is it like going out and buying some clothes because I can't dress myself?
Right.
I mean, one thing that I've always had a thing with is like a lot of people love shoes.
Right.
I have had these shoes for about 10 years, and same thing.
Comfortable.
They're okay, but they're like I don't wear them enough because and I don't have that knack of a hobby. So I've tasked myself this year with the goal to find a hobby, collecting shoes, collecting shirts, doing something to take up my time,
right,
and to kind of focus like, hey, this is me time,
right.
And it's not like shoving out everything else around me, but it's like, hey, you're going to focus on you and your hobby and something that you like to do for like an hour a week, or a couple hours on a weekend. Right. So that way I can feel good about spending that time with myself.
With yourself? For yourself.
It sounds bad, though.
Yeah.
It sounds dirty. But it's not like that. It's not like that.
For yourself, by yourself, man. It's all good. You have 3 kids. I mean, you got to take the time to do stuff for yourself, right?
That's the thing, and you spend so much time at work, and, last year was a lot of kind of redirecting and finding what is going to work out professionally. Like, I know I was spinning my wheels, like thinking that phone is going to ring.
Right.
And it's about how you call out, and that's one of the main goals. So my main goal for business and professional is going to be doing 100% more outbound calls. So I'm going to actually go back on my phone records, see which new numbers that I've called, because you can kind of like figure it out that way. You can search and do stuff like that. So I'm going to find that number of like non-repetitive people that like I've called out and like or only have like 1 or 2 that I don't know, and I'm going to set that number and then double it so that this year, same thing that you're doing, cold calling, just get out. Call them, leave that damn voicemail.
Leave the voicemail.
Because a lot of times in this market, it's the people who gave up. It's getting back in their heads right now. Yeah. So it's a great time to get back on your feet, hit the ground running, because in 60 days when the market starts to pick up, because it's springtime, it's going to. If you just lay back for the last 60 days, it's not going to do anything for you.
Whereas someone who is actively, aggressively going after it doesn't have a head start on you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
if I get some pre-approvals out and it's like, yeah, let me just do this. Let me just run these numbers. Let me see if everything's good. And get a new credit report. Boom, you're pre-approved again, still ready to go. And when it's springtime, boom, go ahead and start looking at homes.
Let's run it.
Yeah.
Let's run it.
All right, let's go over some of your goals.
So, one of my goals is obviously to increase my business. 2022 was rough. Like you said, we all kind of went through everything.
Personal, professional.
Personally, professionally, it was a lot. As weird as this sounds, Mike, I actually, right now, today, feel like it was a bit of a blessing. And the reason why I say that is because it forced me to completely throw out my old playbook.
Good. I
had to completely readjust everything I was doing. I had to get refocused. I had to, sit down and think, what am I doing? Yep. Why am I doing this? Like, all these questions that, drive us. Like, who am I? What am I doing? Where do I want to go? What do I want to be? What are my goals? All these things. And I sat down, and the reality was I didn't have answers for some of those questions. I was so burnt and so tired. I just was in survival mode.
Yes.
And so I had to get out of it. Yeah, it was survival mode. And so having to take a step back, take several steps back, it forced me to reevaluate. And in reevaluating and rethinking, it forced me to open my mind to new ideas. And in opening my mind to new ideas, I'm like, you know what? Not only do I have more concise and clear goals, I have a better understanding of who I am, understanding my strengths, more importantly, focusing on my weaknesses, the things that I know I'm not good at, cold calling being one of them, which is why my plan of attack is to focus on everything that I don't want to do, all the stuff that I hate. I'm going to there's a military term, embrace the suck.
Oh, really?
I hate the stuff that sucks that you hate.
Yeah.
Grab it.
Yeah.
Take it on.
You got to live in it too.
That's it. So that's what I'm doing. So, I had the conversation off camera earlier about, dollar for dollars, picking up the phone. I hate that stuff. But I work with some incredible agents, and they are killing it. They are consistent because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, what do I want? I want to increase my business. I want all these other things. What am I willing to sacrifice to get those things? Because you have to give something to get something. So for me, the give that I'm giving out into the universe is I am going to embrace stuff that I don't want. Because if I do stuff I don't like, I'll get the stuff that I do want. It's just like, I was showing you earlier, a picture of myself in 2019 where I was 340 pounds. I'm 275 now, still got a way to go. But
that's insane amount of progress, though.
Well, I appreciate it. But part of that was doing stuff I didn't want to do. I don't like broccoli. I don't.
Chicken breast and broccoli. Chicken breast and broccoli.
I don't like it. I don't like chicken breast and broccoli.
It's the worst.
I don't like get up in the morning and working out. But I did it, and to the point where it became routine.
Yep.
And even now it's like I go and I do these things I don't like doing, but I like the results. I don't like yoga. I hate doing yoga. But when I'm done, I feel good. My body feels better. So that same attitude is being applied in all aspects of my life, personally and professionally. So to kind of bring us back into what you're saying about goals this year, my goals are to increase my business, to not repeat 2022, right? To take the lessons from the last 3 years and like, okay, this is what you did right, this is what you did wrong. Let's focus on what we did right. And what I'm not doing is I'm not setting a number goal. What I'm doing is I am readjusting everything I do, and let's see how far I go.
Good.
Because I realize that a number goal is great, but it could possibly be limiting.
It can limit you. I'm just like, oh, well, I hit 20 sales already this year.
I'm good. I'm going to coast.
It's November. Screw it. Holidays are coming up. I'm not going to do much more.
Exactly.
And the market's slowing down anyway, so I'm not even going to try.
Exactly.
I hit what I wanted to hit.
Exactly. For me, my thing is let's focus on how we do things, what we're doing, and let's see how far it goes.
Good.
And so, I of course, I do have a certain number in my head that's like, okay, if I surpass this number, I'm okay. But that's not the target. The target is to be the best I can be. So that's what I've been working on literally since November. Is getting ready, going here into 2023 strong. So my goal is just to be better.
So embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck.
And be better.
I love those are my goals. And it's really simple.
So I know with me doing that cold call or, like you and I already have an established relationship, but obviously we want our business to grow and bigger. And with that, you have to have more real estate agents under our belt as a lender.
Right.
And you have to have more clients under your belt as a real estate agent. So, because real estate partners are, number one, our partner, and number two, who we cater to because they are the ones who send the leads over to us. So cold calling a real estate agent that you've never talked to before, never seen before, that is one thing that is petrifying the most. I mean, cold calling somebody, if you get a warm lead that, hey, my buddy's looking for a home, I already told him about you, it's a lot easier to just slide right into the DMs and just like, hey, what's up, how you doing? But if you're going and, I've seen this agent on a sign and I'm gonna take down their number and I'm gonna call them.
Right.
Or you're at Target and you overhear somebody looking for a house. Oh, they fell out of escrow. So here, give me an option, just to kind of squeeze right in there, get 5 minutes of that person's time, and to do that over and over. Because one thing that they teach us in our coaching is to call 40 real estate agents every single Monday.
Wow.
So to do that, you need to have 80 agents that you are calling on your call list. Because you don't want to call the same agents every Monday and say the same thing. Right. So we're trying to figure out ways to kind of, have weekly topics that we can just bring up. Hey, we just want to let you know this. If you don't have like a client update, because right now there's not a lot of clients to pass around.
Right.
And I think cold calling, for me, is embracing the suck. Because
for me as well,
it's kind of scary.
It's very scary. Let's be honest. You're calling people, you don't know how they're going to react, and the reality is you're going to have people who are going to be angry. You have people that are going to hang up on you. You're going to get cursed out. You're going to be called everything. As my mother used to say, you're going to be called everything but a child of God. It's what it is,
Yeah.
So, but again, I work with these amazing agents, and they go through it, and they it works. I mean, they embrace the suck,
Yep.
and the numbers show it. You know, I'm not gonna call anybody out by name because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But there's an incredible agent I work with here at Remax Groupie Gold. You know, and I've worked with her before at another agency, and I am in awe of how she operates.
Wow.
You know, English is her second language.
Wow.
And she has an accent, does not stop her. She is fearless.
Good.
And I look at her sometimes, and I even said to her, I'm like, I watch you operate, and you don't care. You go for it. And she's laser focused. And I'm sure, like everyone, she has emotions, and it gets to her sometimes, but she doesn't let it stop her. She embraces the suck, and she's smiling all the way to the bank. I want to be like her.
That's the thing. So we got to embrace the suck, be better about our business, and, to find that laser guided focus in our line of work can sometimes be hard because, in times like these, what was working is completely changing, right? And we're going to get into how you're changing your business a little bit and how, my business is kind of changing because there's some big news that I haven't even told you about yet.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about goals and how... Oh, that's what it was. So now we're going to get into how you're redirecting your business. Tell me a little bit about how your business succeeded in the past and what you see succeeding for you in the future.
Okay, so my business succeeded in the past by first of all, by failure. Let's start with that. A lot of failure, a lot of bad calls or bad decisions, bumping my head, learning process. That's how I succeeded, by doing all the things you shouldn't do first, and learning and adapting from that. People always like to say, it's survival of the fittest. I disagree. I think it's survival of the most adaptable. I see that in nature, I see it in business, I see it in life. It's not the strongest, it's the ones that are the most adaptable.
Wow.
That can adapt to change the fastest.
That is, in my head, so accurate. And how much do normal people love change?
Nobody loves it. Even good change, And I always tell the story about when I moved to California. I moved here in 2001, about October 9th, a few weeks after 9/11, almost a month after 9/11. And this was a good change for my life. I wasn't exactly doing the best back at home. And so it was a good change. It was a fresh start to come out here from Alabama. And in spite of that, in spite of me knowing that this was a great change, it was a new opportunity, it was a fresh start, I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was terrified to come out here. It was kind of a short notice thing, but I did it.
Yeah.
And I embraced the suck, I embraced the fear, and it was the best decision I ever made. It transformed my life, But the idea of the change, no, nobody likes change, right? Nobody likes change, but it's at those moments in your life when you realize something has to change and it gets scary. It's like, just do it. Adapt because the world's changing.
Yes.
And you have to adapt to the changing world, which goes back to what I was saying about, survival of the most adaptable. Whoever adapts the quickest and adapts fully is going to be the one to survive.
And I also think that kind of keeps your mind going too, because if, and I equate this to some sort of government job where, and I've never worked a government job. I've only talked to people who do work government jobs.
Right.
And, I was like, I worked for the county for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and it was just monotonous. You do the same thing over and over, data entry. And the particular person that I spoke to, she worked for San Joaquin County, and what she would do, she'd get all the tickets, and she would add them into the system.
Oh.
And then from there, they'd be in the system. So she would do that nonstop for 6 to 9 months, however long she worked there. She ended up quitting and coming back to Summit. So
good for her.
But that monotony, it doesn't let your brain trigger those synapses that like, oh, what if I just do that a little bit different? Or what
No
if I
creativity.
do this? Yeah, exactly. No creativity. And I have a problem with creativity. In my brain, I'm the building blocks, Legos, follow the instructions, but build the best way, most structural way possible.
Right.
For me to just get a bucket of Legos and try to do it without instructions, I'm like, I can get close.
Right.
But I need to see the picture to do that, whereas other free thinkers, as I like to call them, they're using their brain, they can come up with whatever they need. So in order for me to sit here and do the same thing over and over and over again, I've seen that breed laziness. So I sit there lazy, and it's like, oh, it's just another loan app. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need that, and just get out of here. And it's like, why don't we try something different? Why don't we try this? Why don't we try that? Come back to me in 6 weeks after you do this. Let's see how the numbers change, and just your brain branching out. Your brain is actually still growing no matter how much.
Right.
If you use that, and then it triggers over something else, by the 10th client, you got a brand new idea in your head,
Right.
And then you could take that back to the past 9 clients and say, hey, I figured this out. Let's go back. And it even goes with like guidelines, or when they change the contract.
God, which is all the time.
Changing the contract
right.
is a pain in the butt. To learn everything. Yeah, it's going to be greater, but that learning curve.
Yeah, it's just like every new year where you're still signing 2022 instead of 2023.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
it's all DocuSign anyway.
Right, I know, right? It's all pointing out like 222. Oh yeah, true. Which, quick little side note, my penmanship has gotten horrible now. I was endorsing a check, which is something I rarely do now, and I'm looking at my signature. I'm like, dude, that looks terrible because I'm not used to writing. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I've always had horrible penmanship.
Oh, I have too. So.
I can make it legible, but that's a lot of work.
My handwriting at 48 years old looks the exact same way it did when I was in 5th grade.
I think it's worse.
Yeah, mine may be worse too, but
I used to try. So long as I can read it, we're good. Everything goes in an email, anyways.
That's it. So
okay. So, on the strategies that you plan on working into your business to kind of breed that creativity, what steps are you taking to hold yourself accountable?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was speaking with another agent, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, that I'm speaking with other agents because
that's perfect.
Yeah, but one of the big things I'm doing is, seeing what's working for everybody else, and of course everyone's different. This is a business. You're independent. You're self-employed. You're going to operate different than someone else. But what I'm learning is to go talk to people who are doing well, take in what they're giving me, eat the meat, spit out the bones. Yeah. Anything that doesn't work, it's not going to work. I'm going to discard it, but I'm learning. I was speaking to a couple of agents, and one of the things for me was to start coaching. Yeah. So I've actually been looking at different coaching companies, and that's something I always kind of, shrugged at. Like, I don't need anybody telling me what to do. I can hold myself accountable. The fact of the matter is, I always can't, which is why I'm coming down from 340 pounds, because clearly there were points where I didn't have the discipline to do what needed to be done. And, self-discipline for me has been a process, right. And in some aspects I do well, but it's like I need someone to hold me accountable. Yeah. So I'm looking at different coaching companies right now.
Good.
Getting an accountability partner. And frankly, going back and tightening my relationships with people I work with. Yep. Like you, I'm making a point so we talk more regularly, because sometimes just talking to you is like, I hear what you're doing, and it's like, okay, well, now I got to step up, because I can't go to Mike and like, oh, I got nothing, man. It's like, what are you doing? Well, it doesn't look good, man, especially when you're like being a rock star, and it's like, you don't want to be the guy that's not the rock star, hang with the rock stars.
Man, I wish I was a rock star right now, because it's so defeating,
right.
Feeling that drop off, and we mentioned off camera earlier, it's just like getting out of that rut, out of that depression that everyone feels.
Right.
There's some businesses out there that haven't slowed down.
Right.
If you're in nursing, healthcare, anything along those lines, those boom, 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 everything's still going.
Right.
And they're like, well, we're just going to hold off on buying.
Right.
So and it's our industry that's hit the worst because of rates. Maybe the car industry's not selling as much because the loan amounts or the interest rates on loans are a little bit more expensive for the car loans. There's so many different industries that have kind of fell off, but I think we've been hit the worst.
We've taken some hard hits, and for me, I feel like it's one of those things that is, I don't want to say fair, but it's one of those things that, when things are good, everybody's eating, everyone's happy, everybody's getting fat, everybody's getting 340 pounds.
Enjoying their lives.
Enjoying their lives, so that when things get hard, it's like, I feel like this is the price that we pay.
Exactly.
Like, if you're going to stick in this business, you're going to, if you're going to feast, then you have to learn how to survive the famine and the drought.
That's absolutely true.
So I feel like there's a balance there.
Good.
So for me, right now, times like this, let's face it, you have a lot of companies that are closing their doors. They're laying people off. You've got people that are quitting. You've got all the people that got in when the market was hot and everything was good. You know, they're jumping ship. I've been doing this 18 years. I've seen this. This is a rerun of me now. I've seen the same thing happen before. The difference is, the last time it got really bad, I went part-time. You know, and my whole mindset in 2022 was, as I saw things changes, I'm not running this time.
No.
I'm standing my ground, and I'm still here, and I've not gone part-time. In fact, I've actually leaned into it. So I've been in office a lot more now.
Good.
To the point that I'm getting called out about it now. It's like everybody's like, oh, Clennon's here again. It's like, but my thing is, you know, I can't avoid it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just leaning to, you know, I saw, okay, I'm not going to put any spoilers out there, but have you seen the new Avatar movie?
I haven't.
Okay. There's one line. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a line in the movie where the guy says, if you can't get out of it, get into it.
Yeah.
I liked it. That stuck with me. And I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm not leaving this business.
Nope.
You know, because where am I going to go? You know,
where else are you going to have the flexibility,
exactly.
the way that you can use your skills of just being a person to use that to help somebody find their home?
Exactly.
I mean, people don't, you know, sitting there, if you're in this line of work, you don't realize how much joy it brings us when our clients find that home. They're going to be closing on the home. They're bettering their lives. It's almost like a life coach type thing, but it's one of those things where you know, we sit back and it's like, man, that was a journey, and yeah, we got paid for it, but at the same time, the other part is we're truly helping out our people.
And that lasts long after the commission check is spent. You know?
Yes.
And that's the thing. And it's even better when they come back, because you get to see the progress in their life. Like right now, I have clients that are in escrow right now. I sold them their house 2 years ago. They were a young couple, still are a young couple, but they're a young couple. It was just them. Well, now they have a child. They've got a dog. They've got 2 cats. They're moving. You know, they're stepping up to a new place. And it's like, I was a part of that journey. I helped them get into their first home. Their child was born in that home.
Yep.
And now they're going to grow, and it's just, you know, you get to see that happen. That makes you feel good, because you know that you were a very integral part of someone at a very critical moment in their lives, and they never forget you. And that feels good, just to get those phone calls, you know, or, you know, every now and then I'll get, like, you know, something in the mail, and like, you know, or they'll refer me to their family and friends, and then you hear what they're saying about you when they refer you, you know. Oh, you know, he was here for us, he took care of us. And over the course of years, how many of those clients actually become friends?
True.
You know, my social circle is bigger now because so many people have, you know, become friends.
Exactly.
You know? And that's one of the things about this business that I love, which is why, one of several reasons why I won't leave. Yeah. So that's why, like I said, you know, if I can't get out of it, get into it. I'm, you know, doubling down. I'm leaning into everything, because the change is here. And we were talking about change earlier.
Yep.
You're going to have to adapt to it. Get in there, find new ways to do things, which is why you and I talked about making the phone calls and doing all things I don't like.
Not just phone calls, cold calls.
Cold calls, absolutely. Calling
Brazen.
People. Oh, God. You know, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch Boiler Room and Wall Street and all stuff. I'm gonna get that Gordon Gekko mindset.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You know, to go, what's the other one? Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Glengarry Ross Rounders.
Rounders, all I'm just gonna get in that mindset. I mean, I can't do the Gordon Gekko
going.
here. Yeah, it gets you going. I can't do the Gordon Gekko here because, you know, whatever. But
We can find you a wig.
Yeah, we'll find a wig. That'll be slick. Yeah, see me with the slick back wig.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, you know, as life changes, you know, as challenges arise, you have to find new ways to do things. Yeah. And for me, like I said, in everything, in all the adversity of the last few years, one of the things I've learned is know when to switch.
Yes.
Understand when something's not working, find a new way to do it, and not be afraid or ashamed to ask people what they're doing.
See, and that's where a lot of people, I feel like, I mean, even I get it. Like, you know, my boss is super busy a lot of the times. I maybe talk to him for like 15 to 20 minutes if I'm lucky every couple of days, which is not a bad thing, because, hey, it shows that he trusts me to do my job.
Right.
And number two, if there is a problem, you know, it's kind of like ask me before you ask me. It's like, well, you're the king. I need to ask you. Something's going bad here, and I need to have this answer. So, people do feel bad, but, one thing that has changed in my business is I'm actually separating from the Eagle team. And I'm going to be my own loan officer. So when I went to my boss, and this is the true character of him, and that's why I love him, I went to him and I basically said, "Yo, Blake, I think it's time I need to separate from the team. Spread my wings. Not my eagle wings, but But so when he did that, I was like, okay, fantastic. What I want to do is I want to get a plan together so that when you do make that jump, you have enough pre-approvals in your bank to make sure that the income stays stable enough for you. And what are you currently doing for marketing?" And he asked me a whole bunch of questions, and it's like, you know what? Absolutely. We kind of discussed how this current position is a great position to start off, but not necessarily to live on.
Right.
And when that does happen, Mike.Bott is going to be there, which I'm super excited for. And, it just kind of makes me feel so great about my boss. He's like, okay, we'll just go. It's like,
right.
Well, no, he didn't do that. He sat there. He gave me the time. He made sure that I've got a plan before I just make a rash decision,
right.
Creating this turbulence in my life. So that's the big news on my end. I'm excited for it. I'm still going to be part of the Eagle branch, but I will be a standalone loan officer at some point this year. But that's where you come in and your clients,
right?
And that's where we put together the right strategy to make sure that you can become homeowners yourself.
Absolutely.
Because it's a team effort, and that's I think that's pretty good. Where not pretty good.
I think it's awesome.
That's going to be the goal for this year. The ultimate goal for this year is to have enough clients to venture off to make a living that way, and then spread those wings, just like you mentioned. That's probably the best way to do it.
That is outstanding news. By the way, this is not scripted.
No.
This is literally just a shock to me right now.
Like I said, I didn't tell you this.
You didn't tell me. You did say you had a surprise for me, and that is a huge one. I mean, congratulations, first of all. Yeah. That's awesome. And shout out to Blake. I mean, Blake is awesome. I mean, when I first started working with Summit,
the team, yeah.
It was the whole team. It was through Blake. Someone I was working with brought me, introduced me, and then Blake introduced me to you. Yeah. And it's been awesome ever since. So shout out to Blake. That's a winning mindset. I like it. So, and congratulations to you. I'm looking forward to working with Mike.Bott.
Yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
Mike.Bott, Mortgage Mike. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet.
Mortgage Mike with Mike.Bott.
Yeah,
there you go.
Better your mortgage. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it all out.
But awesome. So I think that's a great place to close it up. Do you have any final thoughts?
If we've learned anything from the last few years, is kind of rehash what I was saying before. Learn to adapt, find a way, learn from your mistakes, and actually learn.
Yeah, don't just sit back and say, "Oh, that sucked," but it's like kind of analyze it.
Analyze it. What did I go wrong?
Yeah,
and have enough humility to talk to people. Mm-hmm. You were asking me before about strategies going forward, and like I said, a lot of the strategies I'm coming with are just simply talking to people that are doing the things I want to do. Like, hey, you're making the kind of money I want to make. What are you doing?
What's working for you? What can I take from you to learn what I can use?
Right.
And then, like you said, spit out the bones.
That's it. So my strategy is just literally an amalgam, bits and pieces of stuff that I'm taking from everybody else, finding what works for Clennon and applying that and learning as I go, because honestly, you can have a plan. You have the best plan in the world. At some point, you better have a contingency because something in that plan is not going to work. So, fortunately, there's 26 letters in our alphabet, and if you go through all of them, you can double up.
Yep.
Double A, double B, double C. So
exactly. Yeah. So, plan A, plan Z, plan double A.
Exactly.
And as this year goes on, you've been in the business for a long time. I've been in the business for about 6 years, but
which is a long time.
Which is a decent amount of time. But I've been kind of sheltered. So as we turn over this new year where I won't have as much shelter, as much of a safety net, that's really what's got me. And I'll close on that because, it's uncharted waters. It's going to breed some creativity. It's going to wake me up because, man, I was lazy the end of last year. I didn't want to do anything. I was just so fed up. I was in a bad spot.
Right.
It was just like, when can this year be over? And I hate to be a New Year's resolutionist, but after we came back on the 3rd, it was just like, all right, let's do some of this. Let's put this up because and the reason why you're always on my videos is because you always have that mentality of a steamboat moving forward no matter what. It's just going to move forward. It's going to guide that big boat into where it needs to go. And I need that type of uplifting mentality surrounding me. So I truly appreciate you, Clennon, for being here today.
Sir. Thank you so much. And I'll say this, and I'm going to close on this. Smooth seas do not make good sailors.
Smooth seas, I love that.
You know, rough seas, you learn, you adapt. The harder it is out there, the better you become at what you're doing. So
I love it. Thank you so much, Clennon.
Thank you.
Again, Mortgage Mike with Mortgage Better with Mike.Bott. Thank you so much for joining us.
Clennon Hughes, #1 favorite Northern California realtor. You can't lose with Clennon Hughes. It worked.
It worked.
You can't lose with Clennon Hughes.
Love it.
There we go.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Dude.